America Great Campaign Rally, plus a massive recall involving water bottles designed for kids over a possible choking hazard. And a woman plays the violin while having brain surgery. 12 at 12 starts right now. Thanks for joining us. It's 12 minutes, no commercials, on TV or on the go, on the 12 News app, Facebook, and YouTube. Hey guys, Paul here. In today's Talker, the race for the White House is heating up. Do you think last night's Democratic debate helped or hurt presidential candidate Mike Bloomberg? You can cast a vote right now at 12news.com/bullhorn, or just comment down below if you're watching the show on Facebook or YouTube. That poll is only a few minutes old. 77% of you think his performance hurt Bloomberg's campaign. We'll see what those results look like in just a few minutes. Hashtag most clicked. The story's piquing everyone's interest right now. Have you seen this video pop up in your social media feeds? A heartwarming moment from last night's Trump campaign rally at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Irvin Julian, the man in the middle of your screen, is a 100-year-old World War II veteran. He was carried to his seat ahead of the president's speech. Trump even talked about him, referring to him as the hottest celebrity in the world right now. According to the president's campaign, Julian is a Navy veteran and a longtime Trump supporter. At number 2, an attempt to pull over a man speeding near State Route 51 and the I-10 devolves into a chase and ends with an officer firing his weapon. Just after midnight, Phoenix police tried to pull this man over. He hit the gas instead. Officers caught up to him in Mesa near the US 60 and Country Club, deploying stop sticks and disabling his car. But the guy got out and tried to take over a truck. That's when a Phoenix police officer opened fire. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, and the man involved was arrested. At number 3, an update on a story we first told you about yesterday. 18-year-old Felix Cardoza has been identified as the person who died after his Audi flew off the right side of the road near the 51 and Shea. Cardoza struck a concrete wall, which flipped his car onto its roof. Right now, DPS is talking to the driver and passenger of another vehicle, which may have been racing Cardoza at the time of the crash. More than 5 million water bottles designed for kids are being recalled. Listen up, Contigo is recalling 5.7 million water bottles that look like this because of a choking hazard. The bottle's clear silicone spout can detach and then get stuck in a kid's throat. Only the black-colored spout base and spout cover models are included in this recall. The bottles were sold at Costco, Walmart, Target, and other stores nationwide. If you have one, stop using it immediately. You can contact Contigo for a new water bottle. Are you building up your emergency savings or paying down credit card debt? Bankrate.com conducted a survey posing that question and found less than half of us Americans have more emergency savings than we do credit card debt. That is better than last year, but still lower than at any point from 2011 through 2018. 45% of American households say adding to emergency savings is a higher priority, while 38% say paying down that debt is more important. The chief financial analyst for Bankrate says high rate credit card debt should be attacked with urgency. Now to our pulse on health. 2 elderly passengers taken off the Diamond Princess cruise ship with the coronavirus have died. These are the first deaths from the virus-stricken ship. Japan has linked 3 deaths to COVID-19, better known as the Wuhan coronavirus. Japanese authorities say those victims were in their 80s. It's video you just have to see and hear to believe. This patient at a British hospital says surgeons made a last-minute decision to allow her to play her violin while they operated on her brain. 53-year-old Dagmar Turner said she made the suggestion in a series of meetings prior to surgery, but doctors only asked her to bring her violin the day before. Turner originally made the request so surgeons could preserve her ability to play music and her 40-year passion for the instrument while they worked to remove a tumor.
There was some summertime and I played some scales in different harmonies, but nothing really so exciting. And I was thinking about what to play. That's really difficult because it would just, something would jump out of your head and your fingers. And then I remember that my bow kept hitting something or someone. And I always just thought, get out of my way, I need to play louder.
I think there was a metal band called Bad Brains. Anything by them, I think, would have worked. Surgeons did say the procedure was a success, removing more than 90% of Turner's tumor. Changes are on the horizon in our forecast. Here's Crystal with the details.
Happy National Love Your Pet Day. Hazel here is ready for her walk. So if you've got the leash in hand and you're ready for a stroll later on this evening, sundown at 6:17, a very pleasant evening with some clouds anchored overhead. 76 at 7 o'clock. We'll be in the low 70s a couple hours later, and then falling into the 60s by 10. Winds out of the northeast 5 to 10 miles an hour. Then what happens here? Clouds take over for the weekend, and we're shaking raindrops out of them from Saturday morning till Saturday evening. Rainfall total statewide could land anywhere between a half of an inch to an inch. This is strictly a rainmaker pretty much, with snow levels starting way up there above 8,000 feet and barely making it down to 6,000 feet before the storm system scoots along. Thunderstorms might also be thrown into the mix. So we have 48 hours from our first day spent in the 80s to drop down into the 60s with breezy winds and those threats for showers and thunderstorms. And then we're back to the sun for the second half of your weekend, still chilly, and then a warm up next week.
Thank you, Crystal. What do you know? We're halfway through the show. That means it's time to connect the dots, in which we take a deeper dive into some of the headlines. Roger Stone, a longtime friend of President Trump, has been sentenced to 40 months in prison, more than 3 years. But there's been a lot of controversy lately surrounding that sentence. Matt is connecting the dots for us.
A federal jury found Roger Stone guilty last November of lying to a House committee about his efforts to find out what WikiLeaks planned to do with emails dealing with Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign that were hacked by Russians. Career prosecutors initially recommended a prison sentence of 7 to 9 years, but Attorney General William Barr stepped in and ordered a new court filing, cutting the recommendation in half, saying it would be more in line with similar cases. But here's the thing. The change came hours after President Trump tweeted that the original sentencing was unfair. So did that influence the AG? Barr insists he acted on his own. More than 2,000 former Justice Department officials disagree. They've called for Barr's resignation, and that's connecting the dots.
Time for In Other News, stories that might have you talking at work today. An unreal update on NASCAR driver Ryan Newman. Just 2 days after a violent crash on the final lap of the Daytona 500, Newman is out of the hospital and back home with his family. His racing company tweeted this photo of Newman holding his daughter's hands after his release. Newman's car flipped and skidded across the finish line, then caught fire. It took crews about 15 minutes just to get him out of his car, and it took hours before he received an update on his condition. Glad he's doing well today. See this delicious burger? Would you eat this? Take a look at this time-lapse video. It's part of Burger King's unusual approach to promoting a menu change. Would you eat it now? Burger King made this video over the course of a month to show it is removing artificial colors, flavors, and preservatives from its Whopper. The line, the beauty of no artificial preservatives. Sold! Not the burger, this house. Governor Doug Ducey's Paradise Valley home is now officially off the market. The 6-bedroom French-style farmhouse first went up for sale late last year. It just sold for a little more than $8.1 million. The 6-bedroom home comes equipped with 7.5 bathrooms, 6 fireplaces, and a 4-car garage. Don't forget the wine cellar downstairs. Ready for a trip to space, anyone? Well, SpaceX is. The company plans to send 4 people on a trip around the Earth sometime at the end of next year or early 2022. It's still not clear exactly how much that trip will cost or what travelers need to do to get ready, but the trip is at least planned. SpaceX is partnering with a space tourism business that's helped people take trips to the International Space Station previously. Time for our A to Z 60, in which we celebrate the people, places, and the things that make the Valley awesome in just 60 seconds. As you know, Arizona is state 48, making it one of the youngest, but that does not mean it's not rich with history. But don't take my word for it. Jamie introduces us to the Valley's very own hip historian.
For those of you who think history is dry and only found in books, let me introduce you to someone who thinks outside the box.
Hi, I'm Marshall Short, Arizona's hip historian. So I really like to focus on the modern history of Arizona from the 20s once the car gets here, because that's when I think all the fun really started happening. People were able to get around easier and faster and have more adventures. When I moved to Arizona 20 years ago, all I kept hearing about how there was no history here. But I knew that wasn't true because every time I went somewhere, I kept coming across these amazing stories, and then I would start retelling those stories. And pretty soon I got to a point where people saying, you know, how do you know more about my home than I do, and I've been here 5 generations. So I provide a wide variety of tours. Everything from, I do food tours, haunted tours. We do a Winnie Ruth Judd, who is Arizona's infamous murderess. We do a tour based on her and that story. I've done movie history tours.
So for a fun twist on Arizona's history, be sure to check out The Hip Historian. And that's your A to Z 60.
I got a lot of questions. My first is, where can I get that jacket? Let's get back to today's talker before we say goodbye. As you know, the race for the White House is heating up. We've got like 9 months more of political season. Do you think last night's Democratic debate helped or hurt candidate Mike Bloomberg? We asked you to vote, and you've done so. 77% of you think his performance hurt him last night. You can keep voting on 12news.com/Bullhorn, or if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, we always appreciate your comments down below. Time now for the look ahead, the stories you might be talking about a little later today. The way we buy things is changing quickly. Coming up on First at 4, we're taking a look at the future of shopping. And that has been 12 at 12. The facts on everything you need to know in just 12 minutes. We're not wasting your time. No commercials on this show. Remember, we're always on, anywhere, anytime on 12news.com, the 12 News app, and our social media channels as well. We'll see you again soon. This just in, bargain shoppers, it's your time to shine. We'll check in with Destry for the details on Arizona Midday.
Coming up on Arizona Midday, we're going to take you to the biggest rummage sale in the